By Jody Harrison. It is a craft which has made work for idle hands for generations, whose threads stretch back to the Middle Ages and across continents. Scotland's quilters will gather next month to share tips on how to pick a patch, sew a blanket and create a cozy comforter out of anything ranging from scraps of cloth to high-quality artistic designs. The Scottish Quilting Show returns to the SEC in Glasgow next week as the creative craft show gets underway, offering devotees of the hobby their chance to share their passion with like-minded souls. Quilting, the simple creating of a quilted blanket by sewing two cloths together around padding or stuffing, has a long tradition in Scotland, with skills handed down from mother to daughter, tailor to tailor, and seamstress to seamstress. Examples range from simple patchworks to quilts of astoundingly intricacy, and some which can be judged works of art. And while once a quilt was a necessity to keep the cold Scottish winters at bay, quilting has now become a hobby enjoyed by thousands. Historian Janet Ray has stitched together the story behind quilting through her book Warm Covers, a Scottish textile story. A member of the Quilters Guild herself, she said that while styles have changed, the skills required have not. She said, in a general way it goes back to Mary Queen of Scots, who made quilts as a pastime. Some of her needlework still survives. And in Scotland, quilting goes hand in hand with the traditions of the textile industry which grew up in the west coast around Glasgow and Paisley. There are still a lot of quilts produced after the invention of Turkey red dye, a non-bleeding dye which was hugely popular in the 18th century and the Victorian era, which was used extensively in Scotland. It was embraced by quilt makers who were able to create brightly coloured bed covers that did not lose their colour, and caused a surge of interest in the craft. Quilting has always been a popular craft in America, one that has never really waned. That influence spread back over here, and in the modern age the craft was really resurrected in the 1970s. Despite their purpose primarily to bring warmth, quilts can have a surprisingly radical edge. The Museum of London has a one in its collection made by Anne Macbeth, head of the embroidery department at the Glasgow School of Art, which is composed of 80 pieces of linen embroidered in purple cotton with the signatures of suffragette hunger strikers, all said to have faced death without flinching. On its completion, Macbeth gave the quilt to the Women's Social and Political Union, WSPU, Scottish exhibition and bazaar held in Glasgow in April 1910 to raise funds for the suffragette campaign. It was thereafter used as a banner at the movement's rallies. Quilting has a caring side too, with some groups producing. For more on this story, visit the news article link.